Hi, if you tried retinols, Botox alternatives, and different types of skincare, and your fine lines and wrinkles on your forehead still aren't budging, well, in today's video, we're going to do some really great fascia work on the forehead and also the scalp area to really help release any tension within the forehead area. Hi, I'm Ali, and I'm a qualified facialist for the last 8 years, and I'm really passionate to help you on your skincare journey. So first things first, you want to start off with clean skin. Now I am using a little bit of my Alison Jane facial oil, just something so you've got a grip and glide, so not compromising the skin by dragging or pulling. But if you have a serum or even a facial cream, that's fine too. Now we're just going to apply a little bit onto the fingers. And if you can go organic, by the way, I'd highly recommend, because of course whatever you apply onto your skin is going to penetrate in better and deeper. So just applying all along between the eyes, forehead area, and then also the temple area, front of the ears and behind the ears, because we're going to be doing lymphatic drainage afterwards, which will be really useful after we've done our fascia work on our forehead area, and then either side of the neck down to the collarbone. So first things first, you want to take the pads of your fingers, and where your collarbone is just above, we've got some indentations. And this, we need to take the pads of the fingers and give those a few gentle presses. This actually allows, or literally opens up, the lymphatic gateways, if you like. I always want to swallow when I'm doing this. And then taking the fingers, let's just start tapping from the eyebrow and working our way in upwards motion, just to getting some blood flow and circulation to the area. Particularly if you have older skin like me. I'm 55 now, so obviously you tend to lose collagen and elastin. So let's start on the forehead area here. Now, again, if we have tight fascia, which is a connective tissue throughout the whole and structure throughout the whole of the system, and if this gets tight, it can pull and drag everything down, particularly also on the scalp, it drags everything down and you can get those fine lines and wrinkles. Also, if you're doing any sort of, if you're stressed or you hold tension in your face and you're crunching up, then you can also get those fine lines and wrinkles. And no matter what skincare you use, you have that fascia patterning, and so we really need to release this. So first of all, let's just take our fingers into like a crisscross, I call this the crisscross method, and just working in lots of different directions. This is a superficial fascia massage technique, and just working all the way along, making sure your face is nice and relaxed and your jaw is also relaxed as well. Hold a lot of tension in the jawline and it affects the whole head. Working all the way along. Now I like to do these sitting down, and if you can look in a mirror, that's better as well. If you are standing up, just make sure that your feet are parallel and straight, literally forward, and that your back is nice and straight and your head is on top of your shoulders, so you're not hunching over. You want to be nice and straight for maximum blood flow, oxygen and detoxification. So now we've done the crisscross method, we're now going to take our finger and place it as a hook, take another hand and just take the finger just between and melt into the skin onto the bone, really melting in. And what we're doing here is a fascia decompression. So the fascia, it can actually almost become like fascia glue and stick to the bone. When it also sticks to the bone, it's not allowing for any space for oxygen and nutrients and blood flow and circulation. So once we've really melted in, taking the finger and just very gently and slowly work all the way up the forehead here. I'm using the finger, or you can use a couple of fingers just as an anchor, so we're not dragging or pulling at the skin. And we're working vertically here, so we're working against any of those horizontal lines and wrinkles on the forehead. And then when you get to the top here on the hairline, give it a little wiggle and then come further across, again placing just almost where the arch of the eyebrow is, gently melting in Nice belly breath, calming down the nervous system and melt into the skin. You may find it a little tender. If it's a little tender, you can always ease off with the pressure. And then when we've melted into the skin, you can almost feel that bone, placing the finger as an anchor and very lightly start to work in an upwards motion. Again, releasing any tightness, any tight fascia glue. Till we get to the hairline. Give it a little wiggle and then a little bit further along, almost from the edge of the eyebrow here. Again, placing and holding. Nice belly breath in for 4, and I like to do out for 6. Melting into the skin. And then again, once you can feel that bone melted in, just take the finger, there is an anchor, and very slowly start to work all the way along. Slow and mindful. Now, if you have any other fascia techniques you'd love me to share with you, please comment down below. I read and answer all my comments, and also it's lovely to hear where you're all from. Then we get to the hairline, another little wiggle there. So now we've done this side, let's work on the other side. So again, placing, we've done the middle part, placing hand, finger as a hook, literally from where the pupil is, the middle part of the eyebrow. Placing and holding, belly breath in and melting into skin, trying to make sure that you're not slowly hunching over, that you're nice and straight. And then when it's melted, taking a finger as an anchor, very, very slowly work our way up. Now, we don't have much fat padding on our forehead, so obviously you can really feel the bone, so you don't need to go maybe as hard and as deep as some other parts of the face. And if you have a little bit of redness, that's fine too. That's just blood flow coming to the surface of the skin. And then literally where the tail end of the eyebrow is, placing and holding again, melting in, breathing in, melting, finger in, taking the other finger, and then very, very gently glide. All the way along, slow and mindful. And then when you get to the end here, just give it a little wiggle out. So then we're going to take our pads of the fingers, and where our hairline is here, let's just take them, including the thumbs, all along. Take a deep belly breath in, and then melt the fingers into the hairline here. Again, we want to do a really lovely scalp decompression here, which is really nice. It's also great if you suffer with headaches, tension headaches and migraines as well. It can actually help soften that a bit as well. And then once we're in there, you can feel the scalp and the bone just very gently come backwards and forwards. Without moving anything else, the pads of the fingers are still in place on the skin. And then work in the opposite direction, because the fascia is in lots of different directions. So now we're going horizontal. Remembering to make sure that the face is nice and relaxed and the head is on top of the shoulders. And let's do some round circular motions here. Getting blood flow and circulation also to this part, and then the other direction. Again, we're unsticking fascia glue. And then let's just come a little bit further up to the top here, placing the fingers, gently place and hold, and melt into the skin. Again, if you have any redness, that's fine. That's just blood flow coming to the area. We've really worked these pressure points hard and quite deep. And then just really melt into the skin. And then once you've melted into the skin, let's just work one way. And then in the other direction. And again, by doing the scalp decompression release here, we're really going to be helping with those fine lines and wrinkles on the forehead, because everything else will be released, so it's not pushing literally everything forward. And then round circular motion one way, nice and gentle. This actually always feels really lovely. And then in the other way, again, particularly if you do, again, suffer with migraines or headaches. And then let's just go to the back of the head here. And again, we're just doing the same, gently melting the fingers in. Nice belly breath in, and melt the fingers, the pads of the fingers. And then once that's melted onto the bone here on the scalp, just really come backwards and forwards first. Now I like to do these 3 or 4 times a week, but if you want to do it a little bit more, you can, but just be very mindful and sort of gentle on yourself if you like. Let's work in the opposite direction now. You always feel really lovely and light after this. I love doing the scalp decompression. And then working around circular motion one way. And then in the opposite direction. And then let's come right to the back of the head here, the occipital bone here. So literally from between the neck and the head, again, melting into the skin. Nice belly breath, and then just breathe out and melt in even further. This is also a great arm workout. And then just go one way, backwards and forwards. We hold a lot of tension in this area between the head and the neck as well. So this will really release any tension. Again, we can get those fine lines and wrinkles on the forehead when we're stressed and we're scrunching up. So this will really help as well. And then work in the opposite direction. And then round circular motions one way. Nice and relaxing. And then in the opposite direction. Again, what we're doing here is creating any space for nutrients, oxygen, blood flow, and detoxification. You may find your hair will mess up a little bit, but we don't mind messy hair. Now, a couple of people have actually asked me if I've ever had any fillers or Botox, and I would like to just confirm that I've never had anything of that sort. I like to do a little bit of red light therapy, and I like to use the derma stamp now and again as well to really help produce and promote collagen. And they're my favourites, but it's mainly fascia work and facial massage and a little bit of facial yoga. And then just gently release. So we've done some really great fascia work on the forehead area, the hairline, and also the scalp to really unstick any fascia glue, but also to really help release any tightness, to really help now with detoxification. So this is when our other point comes in. We need to do some lymphatic drainage. We've moved everything around, we've loosened everything up, created space, and now when we do our lymphatic drainage, everything's going to flow through better. So just placing our hands onto our forehead area, interconnecting the fingers, and very slightly and very lightly glide all along from the center towards the temples. Now we're moving toxins and waste within the lymph, which is also very close to the surface of the skin. So light, delicate touch is needed. And then come to the temples and just give a nice little massage here. Again, relaxing the face. Nice belly breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then just go in a circular motion the other way. Nice and relaxing. And then coming down front of the ears where we have plenty of lymph nodes. and then behind the ears where we have plenty of lymph nodes. And then just taking the fingers, we're now going to make almost like a claw shape, coming from the center. And this is where we really do mess the hair up. We just want to come down and drag very lightly down towards the nape of the neck. Again, now we've created space between the bone and the fascia. We can actually get a little bit more lymphatic drainage. And then we're just going to very gently massage in front of the ears. And then just slowly working all along the occipital bone now. Again, we have lymph nodes in this area. Nice gentle massage. And again, we hold tension. So if you have a little bit of a tender point, you can always give it a little extra. Gentle circular motion massage out, which is always nice to do. And then when the fingers are touching, one hand at a time, gliding down this big SEM muscle down to the collarbone. And on the other side. Now, very quickly, by the way, I have my new book out, so if you'd like to check that out, at the moment it's currently as an ebook. It's in my description box down below. And also have a 7-day reset challenge, one as a video and also as a show on this channel, and also as an ebook if you'd like to check that out as well. Sorry, quick plug. And then from the chin all the way down where our collarbone is, just a bit above our beginning point, if you like. I always like to finish with this. You've worked all along the head and the neck area, and you don't want it stagnating. So again, you want everything flushing out. So taking the pads of the fingers just above our collarbone, if you can give those just a few gentle presses, and this will release all the toxins and waste we've moved within the head and the neck area into the body, ready for elimination. Again, I always want to swallow when you're doing this. You can literally feel things moving along. Now, after this, I always recommend a glass of lukewarm water, one to hydrate the fascia, but two to really help with detoxification within the lymph as well. Now, again, please check out my description box. And if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing, also liking and sharing. And please comment down below. Tell me again if there's any other fascia techniques you'd love me to share with you and how you found today's technique on the forehead. It's a really good one, nice and natural, no Botox needed. And I really look forward to seeing you in the next video. Okay, bye.